Welcome back, students. This is chapter number 15, Our Environment, part 2. In this slide, we are going to study about food chain. Food chain. A food chain is the flow of food energy from one organism to the next and to the next and so on. So they usually start with the producer and end with the carnivore. In a food chain, an organism gets food from one group of organisms. Example: grass is eaten by deer, deer is eaten by lion. Grass is called producer, deer is called primary consumer, lion is called secondary consumer. Now, second example, grass is eaten by insects, insects are eaten by frog, frog is eaten by snakes. Grass is called producer, insects are called primary consumer, frog is called secondary consumer, and snake is called tertiary consumer. Let us see third example. Grass, it is eaten by moth, moth is eaten by frog, frog is eaten by snake, and snake is eaten by hawk. Grass, it is a producer, moth primary consumer, frog secondary consumer, snake tertiary consumer, and hawk quaternary consumer. So food chain, a food chain is the flow of food energy. So whenever grass it is a producer. Why it is called a producer? Because it prepares its own food. This grass is eaten by the deer. Okay, so here the deer is getting its energy when it eats the grass. Okay, so the food for deer is grass. The deer gets its energy when it eats grass. In the same way, lion it gets its energy when it eats deer. So like this, in the food chain, this flow of food energy from one organism to the next and to the next and so on, it will go on. So this is called food chain. So as grass it produces the food, it is called producer. Deer, as it depends on the grass, it is called primary consumer. Lion, it depends on the deer and hence it is a secondary consumer. If we observe this food chain, grass is a producer, deer is a herbivore, and lion is a carnivore. So this kind of dependency of living organism on another living organism and the flow of energy, food energy in this level is called food chain. If you see the second example, here grass is a producer. It is eaten by insects. Insects are eaten by frog and frog is eaten by snake. So here we can see the 4-level living organisms. So this kind of food chain is called 4-level food chain. Producer, primary consumer, secondary consumer, and tertiary consumer. Let us come to third example. Here if you see, we have 5-level living organisms. So grass is a producer, moth primary consumer, frog secondary consumer, snake tertiary consumer, and hawk quaternary consumer. So if you see all these food chains, the living organisms are dependent on the other living organism. And why they depend? Because they want food. Why they want food? Because they want energy. So this kind of dependency on other group of living organism is called food chain. Now let us see the examples with picture. So if you see this picture, we have 3-level food chain, this is 4-level food chain, and this is 5-level food chain. Okay, if you come here, if you see, we have a terrestrial food chain and a marine food chain. Terrestrial food chain means it is on land. It means plants are eaten by herbivores. Herbivores are eaten by carnivore. Carnivore is eaten by another carnivore, and this carnivore is eaten by top carnivore. So this is marine food chain. Marine food chain means aquatic food chain. Aquatic food chain, if you see here, this is phytoplankton. Phytoplankton means the plants which grow in the water. This phytoplankton is eaten up by zooplanktons, means the small living organisms which are present in the water. So these small living organisms, aquatic living organisms, are eaten by small fishes. Okay, these small fishes are eaten by big fishes. These big fishes are eaten by another kind of big fishes. So here, as they dependent on each other for food and for energy, this kind of food chain is called marine or aquatic food chain. So phytoplankton is a primary producer, zooplankton primary consumer, this carnivore secondary consumer, second level carnivore tertiary consumer, and top carnivore is the quaternary consumer. So this is terrestrial and aquatic food chain. Okay, so this is here one more food chain we can see here. So grass is eaten by grasshopper, grasshopper is eaten by mice, mice is eaten by snake, and snake is eaten by final consumer, that is hawk. Then what is next? After hawk, there is nothing, no higher level living organism to eat this hawk. So whenever the hawk comes, when it dies, it will undergo decomposition by the decomposers. So when these decomposers act upon the high level living organisms, they will make that to convert it into some useful substances, and this again useful substances are used by the plants. So this is one complete cycle we can see. So this is all about food chain. Okay, so as I'm telling food chain, so this is four level food chain. So grass is eaten by grasshopper, grasshopper is eaten by snake, and snake is eaten by hawk. After the hawk, when as it is one of the top level consumer, after the death of this hawk undergo decomposition by the microorganisms. Those microorganisms are called decomposers. So they will undergo decomposition and they will get turned into some useful substances, and they are having good nutrients, and this nutrient is again absorbed by the plants. So this is a cycle. So here nothing is going to be wasted, everything is get converted into some useful substances, and that is again used by the plants. Okay, now let us move on to the another concept, that is food web. Then what is food web? Food web is a group of several interconnected food chains. In a food web, an organism gets food from more than one group of organisms. So if you see this picture, we can see the different or many food chains, many different types of food chains, and all they are interconnected to each other, and all these are dependent on the producers. They will start from the producer and they will end up with a top level carnivore. So such interconnection between the food chains is called food web. They form a network like structure in the environment. So this network, as it looks like a web and as they dependent on each other for the food, this kind of network is called as food web. So here you can see the animals how they depend on the plants, or the animals how they interdependent on the each other. So green plants is eaten up by the mouse is eaten by snake and kite, like that. Mouse is eaten by owl. This is only two level food chain. This is mouse, wildcat, lion, three level food chain. Here plant is eaten by rabbit, rabbit is eaten by wildcat, or rabbit can also be eaten by jackal, and this jackal is eaten by the lion. So plants are eaten by goat, goat can be eaten by jackal, and goat directly can be eaten by the lion. Means all these food chains are interconnected to each other. Hence this kind of interconnection among food chain is called food web. Okay, now let us move on to another interesting concept, that is trophic levels. Each step in a food chain where transfer of food energy takes place is called trophic level. Means you know that in the food chain there is a step. In each step there is a presence of living organisms. So each step in a food chain where transfer of food energy takes place, this is most important. They are taking food, they are dependent on each other because of the food, and this food, as they dependent on each other, they will transfer the energy from one level to the another level. So this steps or this level is called trophic level. So the first trophic level consists of producer, second trophic level consists of primary consumers, third trophic level consists of secondary consumers, the fourth trophic level consists of tertiary consumers. Since the transfer of food energy decreases at every trophic level, the number of trophic levels are limited and do not exceed 4 or 5. Let us see an example. Grass is eaten by deer and deer is eaten by the lion. So grass is a producer. As it is a producer, it comes under first trophic level. It can be represented by or as T1. Deer, it is a primary consumer. It is second trophic level. It is T2. Lion, it is secondary consumer. It comes under third trophic level and it is T3. So these levels are called trophic levels, and these are the steps in the food chain. Each step where the transfer of energy will take place from one level to the another level is called trophic levels. I repeat, each step in a food chain where transfer of food energy takes place is called trophic level. The first trophic level consists of producers, second trophic level consists of primary consumers, third trophic level consists of secondary consumer, fourth trophic level consists of tertiary consumer. Example, grass is eaten by deer, deer is eaten by lion. Grass is a producer, deer is a primary consumer, lion is a secondary consumer. And first trophic level, that is T1, second trophic level, that is T2, third trophic level, that is T3. Yes, let us see that with a picture. So this is ecological pyramid. So here you can see there is representation of the living organism in the pyramid form, in a triangle form. So this kind of representation is called representing the level of food chains in the pyramid, that is ecological pyramids. So these are producers, these are herbivores. Herbivores are primary consumers, these are primary carnivores, these are secondary consumers, and this is a secondary carnivore, and this is a tertiary consumers. If you see this picture, we have producers, primary consumers, secondary consumers, and tertiary consumers. So T1, T2, T3, and T4. So this is 4-level food chain. Thank you, everyone.